Hello, it's Fellonius the Wizard, and I'm back with yet another yapping. This time I'm going to do something about political correctness. PC, or as we say it in Sweden, PK, because we spell correctness with K. That's all there is to it. There are some things that has been going on for, well, at least 3 or 4 years. And it is something about removing statues, changing names on airfields and other stuff. And that's just America. I mean, it's been the same thing in both France, Germany, Sweden and many other places. They are trying to remove markings of part of our history. And I call that tampering with our history. If it isn't any history left to be learning anything from, then we are just losing it, right? Let's say, just for the fun of it, yes, you have a lot of statues of, I think it's Confederate, or even the other side, the Northerns, but I think it's Confederate generals in particular, they are abandoned. Okay, so it is politically correct to say that that is wrong and that we should not do anything good with that. But it is good. I mean, the fact that these guys fought a war, the Civil War, this is important. I have a bet, and I bet that there are several young people that doesn't even know when the Civil War was 1864 to 68, right? And don't ask me about any Swedish wars. I have no idea. Anyway, if they remove any things from the Civil War period, then you remove parts of the history that is really important. First of all, there were people who put in their lives totally in order to protect an idea, a thing they thought of. They fought for that thing. It was important for them. It really doesn't matter if it is a bad or good thing. In retrospect, we think slavery is a bad thing, but it is what it is back then. And it feels like the northern states, they didn't want slavery. That's good, but that can't be the only reason they had this war. But still, doesn't matter. They didn't want to divide the country either. There was several states that wanted to divide the country. Nevertheless, if you remove any traces that you can see, put them in museums or stuff, then you just remove parts of the history. An history that has to do with the little people as well as the big ones. Okay, yes, it is a general. His name might go on to live forever, but he's also going to live as part of the history, and you have to value that. And you all know that when the Texas desert starts to blow over and things are just going to disappear, and the sandstorms will take down the Hollywood sign, and all the southern states will be flooded and all that, everything will then go underneath. And perhaps there are some archaeologists from an outer space that will come, and they are the ones who could put the judgment on us. They are the ones that should doom us, or at least think something about us. Not we. We are not supposed to be doing that. We also have some people that thinks that the concentration camps didn't exist. Of course they did. You can't remove a sign that says Arbeit macht frei from a concentration camp and thereby saying it didn't exist. It did exist. The Germans know it, of any kind. They know it, and they have learned a lot, so they keep it to make sure that everybody remembers it. Most of the people that should remember it are in their 90s now. They are soon to pass 100. People are dying away from the history. They were part of the history once, but the history is just going to live on. So, yeah, except for Guantanamo, of course, the concentration camps will not be repeated, at least not in Europe. So, if we just keep them, we have a moral obligation to keep our history as correct as possible. But if you're tampering with history, removing pieces from history, then you are actually making sure that the history is more adjusted to what you think it should be, instead of what actually happened. Tampering with history is totally useless. History is there for us to learn from. We should learn anything we can from our old history. It's part of our school, hopefully at least, and it should be. Now me, myself, and many of others, we are not really the ones that makes history. By the, I would say, like the 10 million people in Sweden, there might be 10, perhaps 20,000 people that are that important enough to be part of the history to come. I'm not. So in my case it doesn't matter what I do, but I will not remove my history because it might actually be worth something someday. You never know. Do not tamper with history. That's my point. Do not change. Do not make sure that it's politically correct. Yes, we know we have made mistakes, but in order to not to make those mistakes again, we need to make sure that we remember those mistakes. Otherwise we will repeat them. Totally. Right. Now I have been a bit upset and angry. That is good. That's always good. Keep yourself safe, and we'll see each other, hear from each other next week. Thank you for listening. Bye.